Hey everyone, and welcome to Cup of Three, a podcast covering reality shows on love and relationships. My name is Mabel, aka Meka. I'm joined by my co-hosts Agu and Ashley. This season, we are all about Married at First Sight Season 10. Today, we're talking about episodes 2 and 3, which cover the weddings and receptions. Let's get to it.
Just it, because it's all overlapping and it's all these little like side things. Yeah, and that's why look, this show, this whole network, this is the place to be. there's so much good content to go through.
So true.
Oh yeah, we'll have plenty to talk about. Speaking of though, talk about what did you two think of the weddings, season 10 episodes 2 and 3?
Oh my gosh. It was a lot.
Yeah, episodes 2 and 3. 5 weddings is a lot.
5 weddings is a lot.
It's quite a bit. And I have to say, some of my initial reactions, once you see the couples together, like you can think one thing on paper, but then it's like when you actually see them interact, it's like, oh, okay. I've changed my feelings on a few different couples here.
Oh.
All right, I guess we should what couple do you guys want to start off with? What are you thinking?
Let's start with Katie and Derek.
Okay.
I think they were in the first wedding episode.
Okay.
Because the big drama for that, if you remember, is that Katie was like kind of having cold feet, kind of not. Like, is she gonna run? We having a Gigi situation. Like, does she have Nikes on under that dress? Like, what?
Provide a little bit of explanation. Gigi is from Love is Blind.
Yeah,
it's a great show that you should totally watch. Okay.
Yes. Having more shows.
Just in case you haven't seen Love is Blind. Okay. Sorry.
But yeah, so what do we think about Katie and Derek and that whole situation?
Oof. First, I'm happy that his mother was able to make it. Yeah. So when she flew in from Uruguay, I think it's the proper pronunciation. Which, side note, they have a really solid soccer team. World Cup. They're good. They're good. A lot of solid players. So, but yeah, I thought that was great. And like initially, you can tell she seemed hesitant. But like was slowly warmed up to the process. And one of my favorite quotes is when she's like, I think your daughter's going to be great for my son, or something to that extent. So like she kind of did a 180 or 360. But I thought that was really very sweet to see. And I like his mom. She seemed very genuine. The other notes I have here is Derek might have had the best vows I've heard on this show yet.
Yeah,
like, they were really, really, really good. And I think initially, so last two episodes, I was okay. Like he just seemed kind of a little nerdy, a little dorky, but after those vows, it's like, this is a cool guy. I like him. He's a solid, he went up 5 points.
Yeah. I have to say a lot of the guys this season had just great vows.
Yeah. 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 Except for Brandon. But everyone else. Great vows.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was super sweet. He just brought out his maturity, I thought, at the wedding. Gave a strong first impression. I really just liked that he had this kind of demeanor to himself that just showed his confidence and really gave to a strong partner for this, at least the start of their relationship. And it seemed to me, just watching Katie, first of all, she called him hot. And almost forgot about what's his face, basically her ex. And I was like, I love it. Hey, I'm seeing this kind of working, seeing David and seeing Derek and she completely forgets who the other dude was.
Right.
That's a strong start.
How mad would you be if you were the other person? Like, oh, I see.
Oh,
Okay.
Wow. You want me to look like Derek, huh? Okay.
Right.
I get it. He's tall. Fine.
Want me to stop doing my hair?
Man's hair out of
Look. Okay, I think I finally put my finger on it. I feel like last episode, pretty hard on Derek. Probably going to continue to do that, but I think what it is if he were an animal, he would be like a golden retriever. Like the man is like this very kind of goofy, like kind of wide-eyed, always kind of just, I don't know, he just kind of has that energy about him. And I think for me, that comes across as a man-child a little bit in some ways, especially when he uses the whole like true love phrase quite often of like, I want this to be the first and last time I fall in love. Like that kind of stuff. It just seems very, I don't know, kind of naive. But when like there was this moment like when she was actually walking down the aisle and they first saw each other and he was just like he looked completely overjoyed. Like he was so happy. And you could tell like once they saw each other, it was just okay. Like it was just, yep, this is okay. Like I'm all right with this. This is a weird situation, but like that's my person now. And so seeing that, I felt a lot better. And also to bring back to his mom, like it was very sweet seeing how she kind of came around because she was kind of on the fence at first, but like you can tell she's just kind of just supports him. She loves him. She wants him to be happy. And if this crazy thing is something he wants to do, then she's gonna, be here for it. And if it works out or it doesn't, she'll still be there. So like that's always nice to see that kind of dynamic play out.
Yeah, and I thought she did a good job of that. Like she, at the end of it, just showed support for her son, and I thought helped the relationship.
So I had a little counter going on of the amount of times Kate would mention her ex, and it's funny. You guys are right. Like she mentioned it. I had 3 counts of it, and that was in the interviews before she met him, and then after she met him, like no more ex talk. All that's gone. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess there's no need for me to keep track of this anymore. So, yeah, I really like them together. I will say, also you can tell they've had a lot more cameras in this wedding venue because we've got multiple angles. We've got slow motion kiss. We've got just crowd reactions. Like they had a lot of fun filming this wedding.
Yep. We were trying to guess where they were like hiding all the cams or like not the cams, but the mics and all the seating because they'll pick out exactly one person. Like, let's say the bride is like taking too long or they make it seem like that. And then everybody gets all unsettled and everything. And it's like, where is she? Like one person says that and they like pick it up. Like they zoom right in on it. But I'm just curious, like how much time it took them to set everything up so they can catch every little minute, direction.
Do they have multiple takes? I thought they did. And that's what I was wondering when I saw first super close up of the vows. And then you see back and forth of the vows because you see it on her face and you see it on his face. And then you see it back down the aisle from the vows. So I wasn't sure how many takes they do everything. I don't know. It could be a lot of cameras, but it could be takes.
I did notice, I think it was with Taylor and Brandon, that she had a really long veil. And so like they got up there and then like in the next moment, like her veil was adjusted. And so I know like they probably do a lot of that kind of stuff just to make sure people are standing in the right place. And even like the officiant will like stand off to the side and then come forward. And sometimes those jump too, where like they were somewhere else and then they're between them suddenly or they're out of shot. So that must be awkward too, where like you're standing in front of this stranger who you're marrying and then they're like cut and then they have everybody like reposition and they're like blotting your face or something. Like what do you even do in that situation? I want to see that so bad.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if it is, because it could just be multiple camera angles though. Like it could be
both.
I'm curious too.
Yeah.
I'm
So
really
final
curious.
feelings between Katie and Derek. I think they're a great couple. I thought they had a strong connection.
Yes. I was going to say, I thought their first dance was actually really cute. Like, I feel like that was a pretty awkward moment for a lot of the couples where they were just like, could not stop talking about how awkward it was and like couldn't get past it. But they were really sweet. And also his friend group I thought was like really awesome. Like everybody here has such supportive and a good network of friends and family who are like really there for them. And it's really cool to see that of just like a group of people supporting their buddy.
It was his friend group with the guy who like just started tearing up, right? That was
I think
so. In the front, yeah.
Yeah, that was I was like, man, that's a real friend right there. Just random.
Another camera angle
Yeah, actually, and like when he was talking to Kate about like, kind of telling her what to expect, like that was really great advice too. You could tell it was he has some really great friends.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
Has a really good support system between his family and his friends, I thought.
Yeah.
In terms of that dance, though, I noticed she was basically like melting in his arms. It was like,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, but like it was just completely.
Yeah, she was about to climb that tree. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she said that.
I missed that. I did not know she said that.
She made it very clear how attractive he was to her.
There's chemistry happening. They'll be fine.
Yeah. They are. And even like his conversation with her dad.
Yes.
I like that.
He was so good.
Yeah. He was. Yeah.
Yeah. The love hard line was, so he mentions that like at one point she it's her, right?
Yeah. She like keyed his car. Yeah, it was Katie's dad. I believe it was.
Yeah. She wrote "I love you, Dad" with her rock on his car.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
I love that.
I mean, as a kid who used to write on the walls a lot, I get this.
I hope you have a picture of that, like, so you can show her now. This is when you were little, so don't be upset with any kids you have and what they do, because I had my car keyed by you.
Or rocked by you.
Yeah, exactly, rocked.
A 2-year-old vandal.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I like them.
One last thing on them, because I feel like we probably want to go on to another couple, but so their wedding was perfect, right? And or it was just it was super sweet, and the vows were on point, and it's so odd going from that to when they're alone with each other. Like you can tell it goes straight into first date mode, where like they're like, oh, so what do you do? And like there's some awkward jokes and stuff, and like that's normal for first date, but it's so weird seeing that after you see all these like just the slow motion kiss and the tears from his friends because he's marrying it. Like it's just like it's so odd to have that mispronounce the heck out of that word, juxtaposition of the two. It's really interesting to see.
Definitely. Okay, so do we want to vote on if we think they're going to last, Katie and Derek?
Ooh.
Let's recap our votes from last one. Let's recap our votes from last time and see if we stick to them.
Last time, Mabel, you were the only one that thought that they would last. Agu and I said no.
I'm definitely sticking to my yes.
You're saying, okay. What do you think, Agu?
Oh, yay. So I want to say yes, because that like the chemistry was on point during their wedding. I am a little concerned with they're the youngest couple, and it seems like he's never had a serious relationship, it seems like, to this point. So this is going to be his first real relationship. I could see that being a problem. So even though I really like them this episode, I'm going to say no.
You're going to say no. Okay.
I'm going to say no. Yeah.
I'm definitely saying yes off of the chemistry thing. This reminds me of like Keith and Christine from, was that season 7? 8?
Keith and Christine.
Season 9.
Oh, that was 9?
No, Keith and Christine were season 8, and then
Season 8, okay.
Keith and Iris was season 9.
Right, okay. So I was thinking of Keith and Christine. I feel like they had really great chemistry, and they seemed to be very like attracted to each other and very affectionate, and I think that helped carry them through some of their rough spots. And so I can see that kind of playing out for Katie and Derek as well, which is why I'm saying yes.
We're definitely going to need to see the commitment from, I would say, more him, just because it seems like he has, you mentioned Agu with the experience he needs to kind of build on.
He's got to learn.
Exactly. Speaking of Christine, that was something Keith had to really learn and kind of hit hard, basically. And I think that for them, it could really work, especially if between his both sides we've seen now, he can make it work if he wants to. He can be mature if he wants to, but he can also be a man-child if he wants to.
So we'll see which side he favors in this journey. Okay.
But so far, like, I know I said no, but great chemistry right off the bat. Like,
it was cute.
For you guys.
Like, I always get surprised at how emotional I feel when I'm watching the ceremonies, because I know that they're strangers. I know they don't know this person from anyone else. Like, if someone else had accidentally been up in that altar, they wouldn't have known, But like, it's still so touching, like those moments. And I was like, yeah, I could see it. They're going to last forever. Like, I believe it in that moment. And like the next episode, they show them fighting. And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, like the preview they had.
They have a lot of bad argument previews.
Oh man, like I feel so confident, and then I see that I'm like, oh no, what did I do? I guessed wrong.
Next, I want to talk about Zach and Mindy.
Okay.
I really liked seeing a new side of Zach come out this episode.
Oh, look who joined the Zach side.
I have it in my final decision. 1 second. But it seemed, like he just really came down to earth this episode. He really just showed selflessness in his marriage, just really wanted to support her. Glowing. Oh my gosh. I could not take that smile off his face. I was like, wow, like this is something you really want to pursue, Zach. That's awesome. Mindy has always loved her, and she just really outshined herself again. I liked her response too when he asked about her family. She was like, there's a little more to get into that, but that we'll save for another conversation. I thought she didn't live very much really. Letting their conversation grow before they get there. But yeah, I liked just how happy and giddy they were. I thought it was funny how much they were laughing, and later on, Jessica and Austin were too. But I really liked just how much they wanted to enjoy each other's company. So I liked how the wedding turned out for them.
Yeah.
Also, like the fact that I don't know if you guys can see this. There's a fly that's flying around here, and it's driving me insane. But I think it's really, you're right. Like he like winked at her when she was coming down.
Yeah.
Which was I missed it, but Ashley was like, "Did she just wink at her?" Which could be cheesy, but I thought that was actually pretty cool. Like kind of acknowledging her, like, "Hey, it's just you and me here, even though going through this wedding." And I gotta say, I liked it was. Is he the first person to like propose to his partner?
That we've seen. I know we haven't seen all seasons, but from what we have seen, I don't think anyone else has done that.
Yeah, that was like a good touch.
So between season 7, 8, and 9, no, but there were other earlier seasons, that.
Oh, really? Okay. It was cute. It was really cute.
Yeah. And like even the fact he like asked permission before he kissed her. I don't know if you saw that.
I love when the gentlemen do that. That was just great.
Yeah. And she was like, clearly she thinks she's physically attractive, because the entire time
she had hearts for eyes the whole time.
It really, she really did. She really did.
Yeah.
Like just smiling so wide. And,
I felt really bad for her that her parents didn't come. And it sounds like maybe she had another sibling that decided not to come because of how the parents felt. And I know another sister had, passed away within the last few years or so. So like she had a rough situation to deal with, but I was so proud of her because she just kind of was like, yep, like acknowledge that like this really sucks. I hate it. I never imagined my wedding day to be like this, but her sister was there, her ride or die. She was supporting her. She was just being such a rock in that situation. Yeah, you can tell her friends too, like they get it, they're there. Like her one, was she the one that her friend like I think left a vacation to come to her wedding? Like she had all these like tan lines. I'm pretty sure it was her. She was like my one friend. I wasn't sure she was gonna make it. She's on vacation. And she's got
I think that was Mindy.
A very obvious like bikini tan line and her like little bridesmaid's dress. It was just really sweet. Like she has this tribe of women that's supporting her, even though her parents aren't. And that's that's your chosen family. That's what everybody tries to find, in your own way. So I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, and they have that in common. I mean, we saw Zach's strong friend group in the episode before, and now we see Mindy's strong friend group. So they definitely both have good friends in their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad. I mean, he only took his shirt off once this episode. The last 2 episodes, so I'm sure that helped for the people who are hating on him. But they also their pictures together were
so cute.
Yeah.
They're just both attractive people.
For real. Like they were just I thought it was interesting though, because they do the thing where they have a family member or a friend kind of describe the person. So his mom was saying how he maybe sometimes tends to be a perfectionist in some ways and has like maybe some very high standards. And some of her friends kind of mentioned that sometimes she can overanalyze situations and kind of get in her head about things and like not take things at face value. And so I think those are just two little things we'll have to pay attention to as we start to see them spend more time together. But initially, like their chemistry is completely there. Like it was so nice to see how focused he was on her. Like you could tell his instinct was, I need to make her comfortable. That's my person now. I'm going to make her comfortable and make sure she's okay. And that makes us okay. And we're going to get through this really awkward, but fun, exciting, overwhelming night together. And then we're going to start to figure out, what this is. And just like that instinct to me, like I had a lot of feelings about him before, but now that we're seeing him actually like in these situations, I'm feeling way more confident that he's a little bit more of a stand-up guy. And even if he's doing some of this stuff just because he knows it makes him look good, great. Like you're making her comfortable, you're doing your job. Those are the things that, make a good partner.
And so what did you mention things we need to look out for them?
So his mom described him as a perfectionist, and her friends said that she sometimes overanalyzes.
Okay.
So we'll see how that plays out for the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also believe his mom said, like, I think this is going to be good for him. He's going to, like, this will teach him how to treat women or something like that.
I picked up on that comment too. I was like, oh, yeah. He seemed shocked when she said it. He was like, I know how to treat women. But I picked up on that too. I was like, what was that a joke? What was she trying to get at?
Does make you curious about his like relationship history, because all he alluded to was like that he's basically dated gorgeous women who weren't substance in any other way, which is kind of a problematic thing to say in the first place. But I don't know, from the outside, like his friends and family, I'm curious what their take is on why he hasn't found a partner to marry until this point.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think my theory on him, and I kind of mentioned this before we were talking, is I think like his job being a trainer, he's constantly gauging people. Like he's dealing with people often on a one-on-one basis, and they're going through difficult times if they're training. It's a routine or something that they're not used to, and he's walking them through that. Like I think he's just through the nature of his job, he probably has to be great at reading people and trying to make them comfortable. So I think this could have been like where all those skills came to shine, where it's like, okay, I know this is an uncomfortable moment for you. I'm going to do what I can to make it comfortable and a little easier. And like even their one-on-one combo after the wedding, I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was a solid. I mean, it's hard for him to mess that up when her eyes are basically heart emojis, but yeah, I think it went pretty smooth. So compared to the other couples, which we'll get to later, where some of those, like I was basically turning away. It was so awkward. I was having a hard time even watching it. With them, I didn't have that. So I appreciate that. And I think that's a good sign.
I think honestly, the trick to like the couples that had the best conversation right after the ceremony when they were finally one-on-one for the first time were the folks who were able to slow down and just listen. Like we have a lot of nervous talkers. And so people who just constantly talk about how uncomfortable they are or how crazy this is or, oh my God, like, and just kind of vocalizing every little thought that's just whipping through their head. And like, that's totally understandable. I do that a lot too. But when you're able to kind of like step back and just be like, okay, I'm going to let all this stuff happen in my head, but like, what is this person saying? Exactly. And trying to pay attention to it and actually respond to what they're saying and not talk over them or interrupt. And all those things you do unintentionally, but I think the people who were able to kind of step back a little bit, like that's where they presented themselves better to the other person. And then the other person calmed down. So it was just like, okay, like there was some moments with Zach and Mindy where they were like just kind of looking at each other and smiling, where other couples, the only time they stopped talking was when they took a drink of their champagne. And it was just like a painful silence somehow because it was just like, we gotta go to silence, take a drink really quick. Yeah.
You can like hear gulping, gulp.
And you can also just see with that, like their level of commitment, how serious they were about this process. Because they really are just trying to make the best of it right now.
Right.
So what do you two think about Mindy and Zach?
I think I'm really excited to watch them and their relationship. I'm here for it. I'm going to say yes. What do you guys think?
Welcome to the welcome to the side. Yeah, I'm those evil little cut scenes they have at the end of the episode of things to come, because I was feeling really confident about them, and then some of those scenes I was like, oh no, oh gosh. But I'm gonna stay strong and say yes for them.
I gotta keep my no for now. I'm not totally convinced I can switch my answer yet. I think I need to see more of this selflessness from Zach to be sure that he's not just putting on a show, one day thing, I'm in this and then once it gets tough, I'm out kind of thing. I'm going to stick to my no for now, but we'll see. It's not as strong of a no as it was before.
To play like devil's advocate for people who are anti-Zach, this could be like he's smooth, right? So he strikes me as a person who could like nail a first date pretty well, and then everything else after that is kind of iffy. So this might be the like knock the first date out the park type of situation. So like I don't blame you.
And he definitely gave me the vibe, and this was from the first impression of him. He definitely gave me the vibe that he thinks of himself as up on a pedestal, and I'm like, I want to see that in a everyday scenario with her play out. And you have to put yourself aside consistently because you're now in a marriage.
Yeah, I want to see that. Team. It's not just you. I'm curious, are you getting kind of like the Luke and Kate vibes, like how Luke in the beginning was very smooth and kind of showed his true colors later on? Is that?
Yeah, just because I remember, similar to Zach, how Luke really just has a sense of overconfidence to himself. I just really didn't find it genuine. I don't like it. And then when you kind of see him in a day-to-day, maybe face a failure, for example, let's say, he just can't handle it. Or, if it's not about him, for example, I want to see how that plays out first.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I hear you. All right, who do we want to talk about next? We've got Meka and Michael, Brandon and Taylor, and Jessica.
I mean, left. We should probably talk about the next person who is extremely attractive. You got to go Brandon and Taylor for the good-looking people combo.
They are so cute together. Like, just them next to each other, all their pictures. I just thought they were adorable.
I love that picture of them on the garage door. I was like, oh my God, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I think they look great on paper so far. And in pictures as well, pretty great. I guess I kind of want to go straight into their vows. Whoever was just doing the editing and the music choice, the music they gave when he was giving his vow, like it's the type of music you drop in a comedy. Like, it was comedic, and everyone else had like the swelling romantic sounds in the background, and with him it was I was like, oh, they think you're bombing right now. So having that sound effect kick in, and like I like to imagine that first line of "from the first moment I saw you," that I think he wrote that as a joke, but the delivery was not the best.
You can see his family be like, what?
Right. Like, what did he just say?
Yeah. And I think that's part of it too, is like Austin was also kind of awkward. But his family was like okay with that. Brandon was awkward, but every time they cut to his family, it seemed painful for them that he was awkward, that doesn't help either.
I didn't think about it that way. If it's like kind of how comfortable a family is, or like family and friends to be associated with someone, whereas kind of quick to judgment of like, that person up there is a representation of us. And so if he's doing something that we think is awkward, then we have to make it clear that we don't approve of that, instead of just being like, yeah, that's our weirdo. Like,
yeah.
And I think it even gave themselves that personality trait too. Like, you can see how Brandon knows he's uncomfortable. He knows he has high anxiety, and he is not comfortable with it. He is just like, oh my, like, I know this is coming off like this, and I'm just making it worse by thinking about it and by focusing on it. Whereas Austin's like, hey, yeah, I'm goofy, and that's me.
Right. Because that was never a thing. And like, I've learned that usually in most situations, if you have anxiety, usually one of your parents has anxiety, and that's kind of just something that you learned in your environment. So I could see that in his family, maybe kind of seeing him in this very vulnerable and risky situation, just being like real not okay with it, because it's completely out of their control. They don't know who this lady is that he's marrying, this young lady, as he referred to her several times, which, look, you're marrying someone, don't call them a young lady. Like, you get to say that when you're 50 and you're at the library. Like, you can't.
Right.
I can't wait to start dropping young ladies in my combo when I get old enough. That's going to be fun. Like, this young lady over here is just driving me up the wall. Like, it's going to be fun to be able to.
You have a 30-year gap between you and the person you're talking about.
It might be too soon right now.
We're not 30 yet, so we're gonna have to wait a couple years.
But I'm born yet.
That's fair.
The minute he turns 30, he's gonna go find a newborn baby, young lady.
But that's okay to say that.
Yeah. I thought the same thing with Brandon. I was like, dude, where's this coming from? You had this swag in your interview. You had this confidence to you. You put yourself in a little stressful situation. Don't get me wrong. It's not little. It's a stressful situation.
For sure.
Yeah.
You lose all control, and you are just full of anxiety. I'm on the other side of a TV screen and I can feel it.
See, it's funny you mentioned that because I think the way he talks, he sounds super cool every time he's talking. Like the times they cut to him on his one-on-one, he's like, "Yeah, I was full of nerves at that moment." I couldn't tell. Like I could tell once he was, like you said, he's a nervous talker, so I could tell then. But the times where it's just him dropping a few lines, like ironically, I think the less talking he did, the more confident he would seem because his voice is just slow, steady. He would totally get away with it. It's just when the more he talks, that's when you notice, oh, okay, he's nervous. But if he went stoic and just dropped a few lines, I think we would all be like, oh, he's a really confident guy. He's doing great.
You notice that influenced Taylor too, though. At first, Taylor had so many great things to say about him. The more he brought attention to his awkwardness, she started giving a few comments like he was less attractive in her eyes. And I was like, okay, so Taylor is definitely that kind of person to be like, I believe you're confident if you believe you're confident.
Yes.
And my attraction is going to be based off of what you think. So I think that'll be interesting to see Taylor kind of react to.
Yes, definitely. And that's a really, really good point, because I think last episode we had talked about this, of hoping that his confidence was something that was really rooted in security in himself and not overcompensating or kind of his way of getting through. And I think we're kind of seeing some issues there where it's hard to see him in that situation because he was clearly so overwhelmed, and you could see he just kind of had this trapped kind of look in his eye at times, or it was just like, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know if I'm doing this right. And, just him kind of getting in his own way. And
exactly. And it's all in his own way. He'd be totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's easy to say that. It's not like he would choose to be calm if he could.
Right.
He would. He doesn't want to suffer.
Exactly.
But
that's just going to take time for him to develop.
Yeah. But even like the moment where they were at the cake and he just grabs a handful of it, he literally swiped it like a bear at a picnic and just all in his hand. And like in that moment, you could tell that he just like went with an impulse, thinking that like maybe this will distract everyone, but instead it got everyone's attention, and everybody in the crowd was looking at him like all weird, and it was just so cringy, and like she was really uncomfortable. Like he was just so in his own universe, he couldn't even see that like he was really making her not feel okay, and she was trying to play it off and be kind of playful, so it wasn't super weird. It was just so hard to watch sometimes with them. Like real rough.
Yeah. Like ironically, if like he has a wife that is extremely beautiful, right? Like she's going to get the attention. You don't even have to do anything. Just play it cool. They're all going to be focusing on her anyway, But you're right. It's the nervousness that that kicked in there. I'm with you though. I'm really hoping when they have one-on-one time, because you're right. In the beginning, like she said it, she's like, "Oh, he's cute." Like you could tell in the beginning, he's her type. And then, like the more conversations they had, like their first conversation after the wedding was so painful to watch. It was just, it was so painful. It was quiet and like, why are you talking about video games right now? It's an odd choice. And I'm sure a lot of that is just nervous and
you can tell he just has a million thoughts running in his head. He's just like not even there. He's in a haze, as you mentioned, like he's in his own little world.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh gosh, like pause, reset.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah. When you're in the middle of that, it's hard to see a way out, Because like I definitely have experienced that a lot as someone with anxiety. Like I get that. And it's so you want to just turn it off, but like you believe all these little things in your head that are like, oh, if I do this, that'll be weird. And then another part of your brain starts debating that idea. And then another thought comes up. And then another part of your brain is debating that idea. And it's chaos. And you're just trying to like survive in the moment. And so you just look like you're on another planet, you know, and you're just like having dinner. But an interesting thing too was their first dance. And he kind of made it this big thing about how he can't dance. Look, slow dancing is so simple. If you literally just breathe and sway a little bit, like all you have to do is learn where your hands go. Like it bothers me so much when people are like, I can't dance. And it's literally just a dance like that, where you're just kind of holding each other and moving back and forth. Like there's nothing else to it.
Some of that I think was on his family, because like in his vows, which that's something else. The family portion of the vows, they were just tearing this guy down.
That's what I was gonna mention too.
No wonder he's got confidence problems.
Right.
You know, like my family, we're all about making jokes about each other, but you don't do it then. Like that's not the moment you want to talk your son or brother or uncle or whoever up. So like, I mean, her vows were just, her family's portion of the vows were like, she's beauty and she's brains, and she's like, they talked her up. Like it seemed odd that like I get a few jabs here and there, but not the whole thing.
Right.
It's just
I didn't really think about that. That was kind of rough. And that is their description.
You could see in his face. I was just like, oh wow, like it really wasn't a joke at that point. They really are just trying to say what they think about him, and it's not very positive.
Tell me how you really feel.
Right. And for her, like all her biggest thing was swag. And that is all how you come off. It is, you can be getting egged, okay, let's say. But if you have swag, you're just playing it off like it's a cool Tuesday. Yeah. And that's all she's going to need to see for her to be like, this is the person I want to be with. And that's going to be hard for him. And I mean, I think he can definitely get there. I think it's going to take a lot of conversations and a lot of, just confidence building in himself. Yeah. But I don't know that he has anywhere to really start with that, because it doesn't sound like his family is like they're rooting for, hey, genuinely talk to him. Let's, talk about your confidence. We really support you, all these things. I don't know if he has a therapist either. And I don't really know where that's going to come from then. His friend group?
Yeah. Because part of it is he has to become aware of that, as, third parties, we can look at the situation and analyze it and, see, oh, well, he struggles with anxiety and he needs to work on his confidence. And this is, and break it down. But for him, that's normal. Like he believes those things maybe that his parent or his family had said about in the description of him literally right before he marries this wonderful woman. Like those things are just true. And he's never maybe had that moment of like questioning those things. And so just starting that whole journey is starting to actually pay attention to that of like, hey, I feel anxious a lot. I have panic attacks. That's a pretty clear sign that something's out of whack. So like, this is a time to start to address that. But it just depends on if he's ready for that or not. And like, this is we talked about this sometimes where it's like people being in this situation where they're being married and in a relationship of this level, things are going to come out that they're going to learn about themselves that you wouldn't necessarily learn if you were casually dating or if you were single, or even if you were single and going to a therapist 3 times a week. Like you're put in situations where your weaknesses and your strengths come out and you see them clear as day if you look at them, And so this could be the start of that, of, okay, this is something I want to work on. And hopefully I really hope this is something they can work on together. Cause it's like, it's not like people who have anxiety can't be in relationships. Like, Yeah.
And he's gone through, he's gone through a lot. And I think the thing that solidified to me just how awkward the conversation was after the wedding was when she asked him about his tattoo, and he mentioned it was my brother, and he, died in gang violence. But, she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. And he goes, yeah, things happen. like you could tell that's the type of answer you give when you're super nervous. Like, no, you can stop and say, yeah, it was awful. Like you don't have to try to push that off. And I get it. As when I'm nervous, I try to like move things away from the heavy. So I am at the heavy conversation. So maybe that's what was happening with him. But
Right.
something like that, you're allowed to give a little bit more detail or to say or to pause. You don't have to try to push it aside and talk about Xbox and your PlayStation. So yeah, okay. I have a random thing, but do you think she would have worked with Keith and Iris if they took Keith from Keith and Iris and paired
Taylor
him
and
with
Keith.
her? Taylor and Keith.
What makes you ask that?
I just think I know it's from different seasons, but that seems like that would have worked. I'm rooting for this couple. Who knows? Maybe they stay together, but
I think
I wish.
If this is Keith from Keith and Iris and Taylor, I definitely think she would have had a stronger first impression because Keith is just quieter and lets, the world happen around him kind of thing, which is what Taylor wants. She wants to interpret what she thinks of you, and she thinks highly of you if you don't change her mind on that. And then, though, after Keith got a lot of negative pushback from divorcing Iris, and a lot of fans just took to him being a terrible person who doesn't want to be with a virgin, he seemed
Which is unfair.
Oh, for sure.
Unfair.
He seemed like that affects you. Like that really does. That's just not something fun to hear when you hear a bunch of fans like try to hate on you. Yeah. And I just don't think then that Taylor would have found that attractive. Just because I think that a lot of times when hearing Taylor is about calm, cool, and collected. I see Taylor liking a Morris Chestnut, confident, quiet, goes through his life, doesn't let anything faze him. That's who I think Taylor would want to be with. And I just, even though I think Keith would be maybe a better match for Taylor than Brandon, I still don't think he'd be good enough as what she's looking for, like a Morris Chestnut.
Okay. I mean, I think the way he dealt with Iris and her convictions, and I think he handled. Could he have done certain things better? Sure, but I think overall it was a pretty good job. And yeah, I know this is totally off topic, but when I was watching them together, I was like, oh man, if you would have put Keith in here somehow, that could have been a home run situation. But yeah, I mean, it's different season, different.
So are you giving your prediction on Taylor and Brandon?
Oh yeah, sure. We could go into that.
One last thing, however, I just need to call out that it was in her vows or her like family's like little thing about her. They're talking about how she had a 4-legged son, like her dog. And he almost passed out.
You have a kid?
That was funny.
That was just, I had to throw that in there. I made a note and was like, I need to talk about this.
Yes, that was funny. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he said it, you saw the turn in his eye, be like, oh, wait, no, they're talking about pets. Oh, crap, it already came out of my mouth.
Wait. That was good.
Wait, what?
Okay.
That's so funny. That's true.
Yeah. Also, side note, his grandma, pretty cool person.
I literally made a note that said his grandma's probably going to get laid tonight. Look, she looks
freaking amazing for her age.
Confident.
Oh yeah,
for any age.
Seriously,
look,
I'm half her age. If I could hear it, was that good?
Some solid genes right there. Some solid genes.
Was it his mom then that was giving all the facial reactions? Because there was someone in that front seat that was like everything that he did. But I thought it was his mom. Everything that he did was.
There was always judgment. Like what?
Always.
What? Like big surprise why he turned out having anxiety and stress.
But again, you can't tell if he just talks normally. It's so odd.
If it's under the surface, that's still there.
Right.
Of course.
All right, Goose, what you thinking?
Yeah, I'm not feeling too confident about this one.
You're switching?
Here.
Last week you
said yes. I said yes last week.
You did. Yeah.
I mean, you did say on the surface, on the surface, they seem paper.
On paper, like they both work for a liquor company, and that whole.
It's a very important part of a relationship.
Right. That's the foundation you gotta go off of.
It's funny, and she's like, "Yeah, my grown-up job is this," and he's like, "Oh, well, that's all I do." Okay, cool.
Yeah, a little dig, maybe.
It's like it's a job. Yeah, I'm gonna have to switch on them to a no. I'm not feeling too confident about them now. I'm rooting for them, but no.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mabel?
Although I would like them to work out, it seems like he could be a very strong man for her. She could be a very strong woman for him. I don't see it just because I think he's going to get in the way of himself, and she's going to view him off of it, and she just maybe can't handle his anxiety.
Okay. I'm going to be optimistic for them and say yes, because I always like to pick out the most anxious person, and I'm like, I'm going to identify with you the most and pretend that I'm just going to live vicariously through you. So I'm going to say yes, because I hope that this is kind of the impetus of him starting to address this stuff. I believe that she's, capable of kind of being flexible and supporting him in this, and also, kind of committing for the long haul. So I'm rooting for them. So I'm going to say yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. So we
got a yes.
Yeah, we have a yes. We got to have, one of us looking out for them.
Exactly.
Good vibes, even though this happened already.
So basically, me last episode was Zach, just defending him. Yeah.
You're really pulling for Zach.
No, So I think he's got good qualities. Okay, just because he takes off his shirt a lot, don't judge the man.
He gets.
I want to save Jessica and Austin for last.
All right.
So
let's go to Meka
and Michael.
What do you think about?
You want to start, Ashley? You can start.
Oh, okay. So we kind of start off with her and her dress, and she's kind of feeling overwhelmed because it feels too big. This is why I don't do strapless dresses. Like these titties are not going to fit in there. It's just not going to work. Not going to happen. And strapless dresses just always feel like very insecure. So I totally understand that feeling. But her friends were the sweetest. They literally encircled her. They're like, "It's okay. Like, we got you. We're going to help you." They're just like kind of calming her down. Like, it was, again, like everyone has the sweetest friend groups. I'm so excited. It's just nice to see people supporting other people in like that really genuine way in these like little stupid moments. Like that'd be an easy moment to make fun of like, well, why didn't you get the right size? Or like, somehow make it her problem. So I liked that a lot. I think when they first met, it was, understandably awkward. Like, I don't think they were super comfortable with eye contact yet. So it was a lot of like darting around. I thought their vows were really cute. And like, you guys said earlier, like the vows this season, I guess, have been just really thoughtful and touching and very heartfelt. Like you can tell they spent some time with it. But yeah, I think she's one of our nervous talkers. And so like when they had their first dance, she just kept talking about how awkward it was. It's like, well, you're perpetuating the awkward feeling by talking about it. So like, just kind of let that feeling sit with you for a minute. They talked about kids in the middle of having their dinner, like known each other for several hours now. They're like, when would you want to start having children? Like that blew my mind that they would even go there.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So if I can hop in here. So definitely not the best time period to have this conversation. But I don't think he was wrong with his like 2 years where you're marrying a stranger. I don't think that's necessarily it's interesting her reaction to him saying 2 years, but that seems pretty reasonable, my personal opinion. So I thought that was interesting. Do you think 2 years is him pushing it too far? Or, I mean, like, compared to Keith, the other Keith, who said 7 years, this is
Of course.
a lot closer. So, yeah. What do you
My
guys think?
problem with it was more like that is way too intense of a conversation to have when you don't know the person. That it feels like they're just viewing each other as like the means to produce a child rather than, you know, they're, you know, like it felt just really cold as like, well, I need you to do this. So like, let's negotiate, and kind of dismissing the whole, all the wonderful parts about, you know, being in a relationship or being married. And so it just, I think if I were in that situation, I probably would have just kind of joked about it like, oh, we'll talk about that later. We've got lots of time. Or, you know, just pushing it off that, because like there's no way that that's going to go okay in that moment. You know,
I'm starting to wonder about her level of maturity, because it's happened a couple times now where it's like she thinks one way, and if it's not like that, it's failure. And to me, that seems like it needs a little bit of experience to live with before you realize life doesn't just happen that easily. Because, you know, yes, absolutely, a wardrobe malfunction is never fun, but you handle it extremely poorly. To kind of like think that this is going to ruin your whole day off of that. Don't get me wrong, bridezillas exist, but I don't think that made her a bridezilla. I just think she just became a little too reactionary based off of it. And then when she talked about, you know, she said a year and he said 2 years, like, in this grand scheme of things, is that really all that different? You're both on the same page to be like, all right, I want kids relatively soon. And she just seemed to like, oh my gosh, you need to agree with me or you're totally against me. And it seemed to be like her level of maturity maybe isn't there yet.
Yeah. That was a red flag for me as well. It's, you know, sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And just that, her reaction to that was like, even if you wanted sooner, the way you react to that, to a person that you, and I get it, they're strangers, relatively strangers at this point, but just the way there could have been a better way reacting to that. Like, oh, okay. I mean, I'd want a year, but all right. And then like, just move on.
Yeah.
But for it to be oh, you're wrong. Like you said, that's just lack of maturity, potentially there.
It felt a little bit like like I didn't see this in her before, but seeing her in that situation, it felt like, oh, if we disagree, then I'm like, kind of, it's on the table for me to walk away at any moment.
Right.
Like looking for deal breakers, looking for, this is the thing I'm not going to, like, there's no negotiation. It's just, you need to match to me. And I think there's just some like perfectionism in there and some like kind of black and white thinking of like, if not this, then this, when nothing is black and white. Like there's always a spectrum between those things.
Right. Great point.
Yeah, like that's a hard thing to learn. It's something I'm learning myself because I definitely think that binary way sometimes. But like this whole situation is going to be a series of negotiations. Like it's going to be endless negotiations. You have to be willing to see, okay, what are they trying to achieve here? What am I trying to achieve? How can we do this? You know, like we're a team now. And so if this is something you're really supposed to be or saying that you're ready for, then that's got to be just part of your approach to these situations. Like I think you see a lot. Yeah. Like you see, like, I think so much, a big part of relationships is knowing how to disagree and have it be about you guys versus the problem, not you versus the other person. Like you,
it's so hard.
It's so hard. But if you can remind yourself to do that, that's when it makes things less personal, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when you can finally find some common ground.
Yeah. Interesting point that he had that whole conversation about how he likes natural hair, and the editing was just they had fun with the editing. Like he says that, and then immediately they cut to her natural hair gone. You know, it's just like, oh,
she has long hair too.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally kind of liked her hair natural as well. I think it looked better, but but that was just, they had fun with that editing. And to go back to my initial statement, my observation from the other episode where he was like greeting her family and he thought her mom was her sister. He thought, yeah, he confused her mom with a sister, which I was like, yeah, she looks great for her mom. Like this is, I feel like I'm complimenting all the like parents on this thing, but I thought that was kind of funny where he's like, oh, you're the mom. Oh, hi. But yeah, I think it's very interesting. Her side of the family seemed very happy with like once he came out. You could tell they're like, oh, okay, this is good. This is we're okay with this, which is that's a good sign.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And I mean, to that, even her mom really applauded her for her upbringing. It was like, you really stepped it up when you were younger, and you really have done a lot. And I think we still have a lot to see there with her potential, basically, for all that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm rooting for them. Yeah, and their first combo awkward, but it's to be expected.
Yeah. I was gonna ask because we were confused about this. Mabel, do you know about once they got married and then they pronounced them husband and wife? They walked through like a ribbon that each mother was holding, and then broke it. Are you familiar with that tradition? I've never seen that.
I don't know where it comes from. No, I don't know where the tradition is from.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I have to look that up, and of course, I didn't before we're talking now. But I just thought that was interesting.
Just gonna do some quick Googling.
Yep, I'm gonna look it up.
Breaking the ribbon.
But as we're talking, I'll look it up.
Okay. So, do we want to go into if we think they'll last or not?
I think one more thing I wanted to say was that he seems pretty consistently calm, and I like that about him.
Yes.
He is just happy with who he is as a person. He is very sure of himself, and I like that about him.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of times where he was the calming energy. Like you could tell she was nervous, and initially, like while they were getting married, you could tell he was a little nervous and he was fidgeting and things like that. But after that, like you said, he was very calm. Also, great friend group, like a solid, group of friends. So I think he like on paper so far, great match.
Yeah,
like great match.
So would you say that you think that they would last?
I think so. I was the only one to say they wouldn't last, right?
Let's look. So we all said yes to them last week.
Yeah, that's the one couple we all agreed on. We're all rooting for.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stay yes for them.
I think, I don't know. I'm a little worried about her
maturity.
Yeah, maturity, kind of like that. Like there's the negotiation thing I was talking about. I think if she doesn't kind of realize that that's going to sabotage some situations, like they're going to have some really hard conversations. Like they're going to have to talk about money. They're going to have to talk about where are we going to live. They're going to have to talk about, how our career is going to work together or not. And all these types of tough situations where you have to be willing to kind of work together to divvy up, responsibilities or whatever it is. And it just surprised me how she kind of handled some of those situations. So I'm not feeling it right now. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
A switch.
Before I get into my answer, just quickly Googling ribbon breaking ceremony. Just sounds like it's something that originated in Europe. It's very common in Armenian weddings, or red and green ribbon. Not really sure the meaning. But yeah, I don't know why they did that in their ceremony then. The ribbon breaking.
Interesting. Cool.
So
definitely gonna research that later.
Because they're my favorite couple from the beginning, I want to still hold out for them, and fingers crossed they're gonna work.
Stay strong. You got this.
Good. I'm a little nervous, but I want to hold out hope for them.
Okay. All right. So you wanted to save them for last, Jessica and Austin. So do you want to start?
Yeah. So at first, last week, I was concerned about their families, just because he's super close to she's super close to her sister's sister. It's going to be interesting to have their families come together. But I loved seeing their families come together. They just really got along. They were both, I thought, taking it super cool, enjoying the day. And I thought they had the best attitude for the entire day. Both of them were just taking it in stride. And I just really liked their energy the whole day. Mm-hmm. So I really was happy to see them just have an enjoyable wedding and enjoy each other's company. Mm-hmm. And they were laughing like the entire time, even when they just wanted to fill a silence mm-hmm. in their one-on-one conversation. I was like, okay, you don't have anything to laugh about, but you're still laughing? Okay, I love it.
They did seem to have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They are both so awkward to me. And weirdly, I wasn't expecting that. I thought, for whatever reason, I thought she was going to be the quiet sister and the other one with the more expressive. But her one-on-ones are the amount of times we've seen her dance and stuff. She is really into being married, which is interesting.
That was really funny.
Yeah, and they're playing skits right off the bat and just very interesting. But they're both equally awkward, and I think that's going to help them a lot. It's interesting, so she was describing what she was looking for on the one-on-one before, and she's like, oh, I want him to have darker hair and have a beard. And I might be wrong with this, but I think on her, at least when they showed her in the interview process, all she mentioned was tall. So I have a feeling there's some producer somewhere hey, you didn't say that before. You just said tall. We gave you this beard and dark hair.
That's all you wanted. Tall man.
Cut to the tall.
He's technically taller than you.
But it was great that she was like, oh, he's cute. Yeah. I was like, okay, we got that. They got they both think each other are attractive. Like you said, the families seem to mesh pretty well. I liked the way he dealt with the interrogation from her friends and personally, I don't like that. I don't see the point of what are you interrogating? Okay, let's say you get a wrong answer. Now your sister is married to that person. What? If you're gonna do that before the wedding. I mean, obviously they can't. But I don't like that when they do this in Married at First Sight. We're gonna get the dirt on them. They're married now. It's too late.
Yeah.
But he answered all those questions pretty well, and I really like seeing that. I like them a lot more now that you see them together. It was just pretty good.
Did we notice though that he's the mama's boy? Mama doesn't approve of this. Mama's there. She's Mama May May or whatever. Mama Mia last week.
No. That's not her name. Okay.
I know. The word association. I couldn't stop. So his mom, there was this one shot where they were doing the group photos right after the ceremony. And so, most people are focusing on, this new couple and kind of seeing what they're doing. And his mom is standing right next to him, and she was straight faced. You could tell she was just I'm physically present, and that's what I'm going to do. I don't have to say anything nice. I'm not going to do anything nice. I am here, and this is how I show my support, but this is as far as I go. And I think it's, maybe there's a little territorial thing going on of this is my son, and who is this rando who's coming in to take him away from me? And, this is a big milestone. I can imagine if you're, really close with a parent, getting married is they're kind of becoming that person in some ways. And in some aspects of your relationship, you're kind of being replaced. And I could understand how that might feel, but it was just really funny to me, her just consistent look of disapproval while still being there. Like, it was just so funny.
I'm the number one person in your life.
I'm the only woman for you.
I'm gonna make a Marshawn Lynch joke but you guys wouldn't get it.
Wait,
so just Marshawn Lynch. I'm
Okay.
here till I won't get fined.
Oh yeah, I know that reference.
Okay.
That's funny. Well, can I just say, like, he was really feeling his hair the whole wedding. Kept running his hands through his hair. I was like, okay, dude, you love your hair.
Luxurious
So
locks.
oily by the time he got done. Look, by the end of the night, because he was sweating, and you could tell he was like partially drying his hands off in his hair. Like, this is why dry shampoo exists. Like, don't go touching it constantly. Like, I have fine hair. That's what if I play with it a lot, by the end of the day, it's just like oil streaks. It's disgusting. Like, you can't do that.
That's what we saw.
Yep, that's exactly what
Maybe
happened.
Zach will do like a little tutorial when they're on the honeymoon. Like, they'll meet up and be like, okay,
Oh my
these
God.
products.
Can we please have Zach? I need to learn how to blow dry my hair from Zach. Oh my
Right.
gosh. Like,
He had the brown
It was spot
brush.
on.
He actually had a
Right.
brown
Yeah.
brush and was doing this shit. I was like,
I
can't.
I'm watching Zach and I'm literally thinking to myself, like, wait, but like, can you show me how to do the back part?
That's the hardest part.
Exactly.
And not like getting the brush like tangled up in there.
Oh my gosh, it's a mess. I just give up.
So when you mention like, oh, he has to talk to Zach, for a split second, I just put Zach's hair on Austin's head,
No.
and the imagery it's good.
That's really good.
I think Austin's hair works better for him. Oh, too
But
funny. Yeah.
I think they're well matched in the way that, like you guys said, they're both a little awkward, but that seems to kind of be their like they seemed really happy. Like the way they kind of managed the nervousness was just being really jokey. And like at the end when they had all the streamers on, she kept like putting it on his head and, you know, just being like really like very flirty, like young person flirty. And in a way that was like, okay, they're here for this. And I think if maybe one of them didn't deal with their nervousness in the same way, then it could have been really weird. Right. But like they kind of managed each other. And also it was really cute when Jessica went into the bathroom and then Mindy was in there.
Oh
and
yeah,
they all just started like screaming and like it was just really heartwarming to see. They're like, oh, what's your husband's name? You know, like going through all of that. It was just adorable.
Mm-hmm.
It really
Those are some of the good times that they have, and I'm glad that they started doing that after the first few seasons to have the couples come together because it just makes it more fun and better TV.
Yeah. Also, like they know what you're going through.
Exactly.
They're also being married at first sight. Like it's a win-win.
Yeah.
I think the reason I like them more is okay. You're awkward, or maybe not awkward, but you're a little bit more quirky and nerdy. Just own that. Just be who you are. Like I think to kind of bring it back to Brandon, like I feel like he's more of that energy, but he plays cool. If you're quirky or like you make little jokes like that, just be who you are. Right. You don't have to try to play the cool guy.
Be yourself. And I think that Brandon, he's just not happy with that part of his personality. He wants to suppress as much as possible. When you suppress part of who you are, it just never works out for you.
Yeah.
Like
it makes
you have to lean into who you are. Exactly. And I think that both Jessica and Austin do a really good job of just leaning into who they are as people because they just love themselves. And I feel that across from them.
Yes.
They just are happy with who they are as people.
Yeah.
But they also have extremely supportive and engaged family who are like, and that makes such a big difference. You know, like it's kind of weird to see this play out with like a group of 10 different adults of what are the vibes we get from them, and then how do we see their family interacting, and kind of how those things play off of each other. Or like you can just see that like both of their families, I mean his mom on the fence, but they were all there, they were supportive, they were really trying and there for it.
Which we don't see this in all the couples, but I've definitely said from the beginning, like I don't think it's enough for the interviews to be only the individuals. you have to see their whole picture.
Mhm.
Okay, they may not have a good relationship with their family, but interview their friends. Like, you know, Danielle left her liberal parents, and okay, her identity is now with her conservative friends. That's cool. Interview her friends. But like, I think it needs to be something of a 360 evaluation of the person, not just what they think of themselves, because we've seen it even with Amber and wow, I'm forgetting his name now. Finance bro. What's his name?
Oh, Dave.
Yeah. Dave saying, you know, oh, I guess religion is more important than I thought. But in the interview, he didn't care what religion his partner was.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he just said he didn't want someone who was agnostic or atheist, I think.
I thought he didn't want someone who's extreme on either side. But when she was like, I'm not super religious, so basically, you know, in the middle, he was like, oh, I actually need someone leaning more towards Christianity. So I just think like, and that maybe could have helped with people like Brandon in this season. If you get to know more about him than just his own interpretation of himself, he may see a whole picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is just everyone's tolerance level with just being uncomfortable and not super sure. Of if you can go into this with a really open mind of, oh, I wonder why this person said that, and like we'll explore that later. I wonder, you know, I don't know, just approaching everything with that curiosity instead of having whatever picture in your mind, whatever your first impression is, and then only looking for things that support that first impression. You know? And so like I think that's when we have seen couples be successful in the past, that's kind of what they can do. Of like, no matter what situations we're going through, we're both kind of learning together, and we can get through this, rather than whatever someone does is adding to a list of deal breakers that I'm going to bring up in the divorce, you know, which sucks.
Stockpiling.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really liked them. I really liked their wedding. I think they're great people. I think they're a great match.
Very cute. Also, I made this note, and Nagu might be mad at me for sharing this, but apparently he's scared of twins.
I'm not afraid of twins. It was just
He's afraid.
Oh, Agu, you're afraid of? I thought you as in like Austin. Like
no, Agu said, I am afraid of twins.
Why? Because they do the switcheroo on you?
Where she was talking to herself, it was just like talking to her sister.
You know they're different people, right?
No, they're not. They're the same person.
For a split moment, I was just like, oh, I'm confused. I'm confused. I'm scared. That was it. But I'm back. I'm not. Twins of the world. You're cool. You're great. I got no
big demographic of ours. Twins.
Now I do.
We just lost all our twin viewers.
I can't believe that we missed this. Yeah, we missed all like 0 listeners. I can't believe we missed this, but we got to talk about Drunk Girl and
Derek. But first, we got to vote.
And Derek.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about her.
We got to talk about that.
But
yeah,
very quickly.
Yeah.
Yes, vote first.
Goodness. Okay. But let's vote. Yeah.
Jessica and Austin will last. Stay together.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm a yes for them.
Okay. Agu, what do you think?
So I think I said no last time.
Yeah, that's right. You said no last time.
I was wrong. You know, I'm willing to acknowledge when I was wrong. They are definitely the Bobby and Danielle of this season.
They're Bobby and Danielle from season 7.
That's right.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to work for now. So I'm going to say yes.
I'm totally on board with them too. I think they're going to be good. Okay, so Derek and Drunk Bridesmaid.
Oh my goodness!
Wait, can I just tell that we have a new favorite couple now between the 3 of us? I'm still rooting out my favorite for Meka and Michael, but now we're all on the same page for Austin and Jessica.
So last week, Agu, you said Taylor and Brandon was your favorite, Mabel, Meka, and Michael. And I said Jessica and Austin. I'm standing firm with Jessica and Austin.
As your favorite couple?
But what do you guys think?
I want to stay firm with my favorite couple too. I'm going to keep them as my favorite couple for as long as possible.
Man, I might have been wrong with the Brandon and Taylor. Here's the thing, though. I have a feeling we're going to get some great storylines from their relationship.
Right.
So I will stay really just so that I don't switch, because I've changed my opinion on many couples.
So Brandon and Taylor are going to be your favorite couple, but you don't think they're going to last.
Favorite reality TV couple, that's what I'm trying to say. Whether or not they're
for a different reason, right? Favorite because of the journey, not the destination.
Hey, I mean, Love is Blind. As you know, Gigi was my favorite character on that, and I thought she was a train wreck, but she was the best. Like, I'd want to hang out with her. She'd be great.
Because she knows how to work a reality TV show camera.
Yes. She does. Also, she'd be fun to go and get drinks with, have a group of friends and Gigi. She'd have stories for days.
Hot mess.
Stories for days.
Okay, so Drunk Girl and Derek. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about her. That was
yeah. We can't. I was like, we can't go and end this without talking about that. Well, first, he is the real MVP for staying consistent and just staying calm while she was just. Oh my goodness! So I want to find the exact quote. So I want to get your opinions as I search for this, because she had some gems.
It was I was a little worried, honestly, after I saw that scene, because I was like, oh, I don't know this dude enough yet. Is this going to get him in his head and think that oh, I've got to be this fantastic, amazing, over-the-top, passionate lover, else this woman is going to think that I'm some kind of sea slug. That's not a good headspace to be in when you've just met someone and you're married to them now. So it seemed like he was okay, but I'm hoping he just writes that off as oh, her drunk friend was seeing an opportunity to kind of give me a hard time. But yeah, she was hilarious. I like that half of what she said was just bleeped out. She couldn't even say it. What? She was doing hand motions and it was.
Oh my gosh!
It was funny.
It was really funny. I thought he did a good job. I totally agree with you. He handles it very well, and he was like, you know what? I'm just rolling with it. She wants to say these things, and I thought he was very consistent too. And this is what I believe. Part of me though was wondering. I'm like, girl, do you just want to get laid tonight?
That's what I had. That was my first thought. I was like, wow, man, somebody take one for the team. That was me. Yep. I'm sorry, but I was getting strong energy of this is what she was looking for, and she's just projecting this on someone else. It's like, all right, okay.
I want to know what shots the TV Derek, set up one of your groomsmen, right? Hey, I'm sure someone, they wouldn't mind, and she wouldn't, I'm sure there's a match there somewhere. You just gotta have the experts come in for her in that whole way.
She could barely keep her eyes open. It was she was leaning over. The hand motions were just unnecessary. What are we doing with that? Also, I found the quote I was looking for. She said, "So are you trying to D her down or what?" Just gems. Just absolute gems.
Yeah.
Can we keep it running?
There's always that one person at the wedding who was just having a great time, drinking a little too much. So I'm glad we were able to see that. And I feel for her because this is super embarrassing, but
we saw he had good instincts. Like you guys said, he was consistent. And I could see maybe in that situation where it would kind of be easy to fall into I'm just going to people please and make them happy with whatever I say. So maybe joke around about it or kind of engage in what they wanted to talk about, which was clearly inappropriate given the situation. But he was he was calm, cool, and collected about it. He was kind of stayed on message, true politician, just, nope, this is what I want to talk about. And, he already had that instinct of nope, that's something that's just for us. to talk about, to decide, to experience, whatever. Like, that's only us. And it's not cool to talk about that with the friends when I'm sure he and his new wife have not had the sex conversation yet. So like,
also you can't have a reasonable conversation with this person that drunk. Like what would the conversation have been? Like, oh yeah, you're right. I was thinking this, and this, and then she like,
first I'm gonna do this. Wait, what? He brings out his
So we have to keep this. We have to pub this for ourselves. We have to get a running list of best quotes. Season 10, episode 2. Yes. Drunk girl at the wedding.
Yes. Save that one a go.
Yeah.
That'll be a t-shirt. No, that's a gross.
And all of our listeners, let us know your favorite quotes and we'll add us to a list.
Yes. I'm sure there's lots of quotes that we've missed. There's so much good stuff. And also, again, it's 10 people that we're trying to talk about, and it's a lot to get through. But trying to get enough, detail about each of them without being spending too much time on it or being too general. Like it's
exactly. So high level, final thoughts of the 2 episodes, episodes 2 and 3 for season 10.
I feel like overall beautiful weddings, really nice vows, some awkward first date banter. Families were pretty cool overall. A lot of awkward first dances.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Did you just use banter in your sentence? It's very British of you.
Yeah, I'm super British.
Okay. So just friendly banter. Okay. Oh man, my accents are awful.
It's super good, huh?
Ooh, okay.
So yeah,
thank you.
I enjoyed watching it. It was a lot of fun. It's always very informative to see all the family stuff. So I think that'll help us kind of understand everybody better as we see them, I guess, go off onto their honeymoons next, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think this is generally the honeymoon is when it starts to feel real to me, that the couples are, because you get to see them together, and this is all nice, and I got obviously couples I'm rooting for, but now we're gonna get to the real part of the show. In terms of high level thoughts, I'm with you. I think on paper the experts did pretty well with most of the couples. Like even the couples where I'm not sure if they're going to last, I see why they were paired. I can see it. So yeah, I think also want to give a shout out to the parents of the just the multiple parents. I think that's a hard conversation to have. And like a lot of the parents, I'm sure, even though they probably don't agree, they're like, all right, this is what you want to do. I'm going to come here and support you. Like, it's amazing to me how many parents are coming and are open. So that is 10 days notice, right? Like that's amazing. I think a large percentage of parents in the world would not agree to this. So just to see these great parents being good and letting their kids do this. So that's mostly it. And then of course, drunk girl combo, just a highlight for me. I think the producers, because I've noticed this, like a lot of the couples, there's like a friend there's always one person in their friend group that's going to ask them like, oh, are you guys going to consummate the wedding, the marriage? There's always one friend that has that question. So it feels like the producers are kind of floating that out. And I just imagine the producers asked that group and she was just like, I'll do it right here. I got it. Yeah, coach, I got this.
Just like hikes up her dress real quick and like, okay, I'm ready.
I got this. I'm ready. Like, hey,
that's great.
So yeah, MVP moment.
Yeah, I think this season, fingers crossed, I'm not gonna have a couple that I just can't stand watching after a certain amount of time. I think we're gonna
Mia and Tristan.
Exactly. I don't think we're gonna have a Mia and Tristan from season 7 this time.
Yeah.
I think we are going to have some people that are really going to try to make it work. It seems like a lot of these partners really want to be married, and no one from season 9, Matt, there is no Matt in this season that just isn't into this experiment at all. I think, though, even though I, again, don't think that all the couples are going to stay together, I can also see why the experts match them with each other. So I think it's going to be a really good season to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. At the end of the wedding episodes, I'm always so hopeful because it's so romantic, and it's so it's kind of just like full of potential because it's these people who are kind of on the brink of, you know, something that could be literally the person that they spend the rest of their life with if they decide to commit through the hard parts and the not so great parts and all that stuff. And so I hate so much how at the end, of course, they do. I keep hitting this. I'm sorry. They keep doing the thing where they show like what's going to happen in the next episode. So they show everybody getting along and falling in love and being really sweet. And then they show everybody fighting. And that breaks my heart every single time. I know it's coming. I know that's human nature. I know that's normal and natural, but it makes me want to cry because I'm like, no, it's love. Like everyone's okay. We're good. And I have to see the reality of all of it play out, and that's hard. So I'm anxious to see, you know, how it goes and how people are able to navigate this.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
Great season so far. So far, so good. Also, it's funny you mentioned the Matt. Like early episodes, I thought Matt was a
you
cool
wanted to be
guy.
the best friend.
So I definitely did. I definitely was like, yeah, I could have a Matt in our friend group. It'd be awesome. That was before I knew he was over here trying to hit on girls as the only 7-footer in a small dive bar in North Carolina. Yeah, like how did you think you weren't going to get caught? How many other 7-footers are in this dive bar?
Girls coming up to your kneecaps and you're acting like they're not going to see you in here.
Good television right there. But I really did feel bad for Amber.
Yeah, that was rough for her.
Yeah. Hopefully she's on one of these spinoffs where
girl has a strong future ahead of her.
Yeah, like get what you said, like 100 people. Get her 100 people to the speed date.
You got plenty of men being like, let me show you how to treat a woman.
All in those DMs.
Slide in the DM. All right, listeners, thanks for checking us out.
Yeah.
So excited to see what happens.
And also, please follow us on Instagram. We are Cup of 3 Podcast. We'll be posting different things from the episodes. So our favorite couples from each of us, and then our votes for each couple if we think they're going to last or not. We also, if you have any questions or things that we missed, comment on the Instagram, slide into our DMs, email us at cup3podcast.
Whoa.
What?
I did not agree to having anybody slide into my DMs. I don't.
Slide into the podcast DM, not your personal DM.
Okay.
I slide into a dude's DMs.
Okay. Don't slide into It's cool. I'm cool.
Go follow Agu and like his 3 pictures that he's got up.
When whoever's listening to this, I might have.
Okay, sure. He'll be promoting this podcast.